in the parking lot at Clingmans Dome. I got Uncle Paul back here with me. He's gonna start with me. And this is basically day one of the Mountains to Sea Trail. Technically hasn't started yet because we're gonna get up to Clingmans Dome and that's like the starting point, but man, it's beautiful up here. It's been a long time since I've been in the Smokies and I am excited to be back. This is not the beautiful part. This is the beautiful. To start the Mountains to Sea Trail? Yes, he's flexing and ready.
Can't wait to get the hiking gains.
All right, so we just did our first little hike up to the observation tower up there at Clingmans Dome. Obviously, there's a ton of people. This is a very accessible spot. It's a very beautiful spot. It's a little bit in the clouds today, but yeah, really soon here, kind of coming off of this tower. We're going to be setting foot on the Mountains to Sea Trail, which is also the Appalachian Trail, at least right here. Here we go! Yes! Hello, Appalachian Trail. I'll be back for you one day, don't worry. So it's a little too early for fall here, and so I knew that, but I am so excited to see these lovely colors. Well, it's been a fun little 3 or 4 miles on the AT, and this is now my departure, headed east, all the way to the Outer Banks. I don't know if you can see the rain falling out there in the valley. You can certainly hear it. So we've been going down, down, down all afternoon, and you could hear this echoing up to the mountains where we were coming down. This is called Deep Creek, and our campsite is just on the other side of it. Paul might be able to get across with dry feet, or he might end up wet all over. Ooh. Oh boy. Oh, okay. And it looks like this is going to be home for the night. We are in Smoky Mountains National Park, so you have to have a backcountry permit and you can only camp at designated sites. This one I think is called, I think it was called Poke Patch. On day 2 of the Mountains to Sea Trail. Had a cozy little night down here in the valley, listening to the water as we fell asleep. That was pretty nice. Overall, yesterday I realized we probably lost about 4,000 feet in elevation coming down into this valley. And I think we get to gain a good bit of that back today. But we have to say that quietly because Paul doesn't like to know what's about to happen to him. So it's a secret, and we'll see how he feels about the climb later. Well, I almost stepped right near on this guy. He is coiled up right beside the trail, and I don't know if he's like laying in wait to get a little bite of hiker ankle, or if this was just a cozy spot for him. But I'm gonna give him a wide berth. So I've seen these sort of mud piles before with the hole dug in there. I've actually never known what caused them, but or made them. But Uncle Paul just informed me that is actually a crayfish that does that. It's pretty incredible. It's quite a large tree. It was once a thriving hemlock. We just heard crazy sounds, and honestly it sounded like voices, and there is a baby bear, two baby bears. Mama bear's over there too, because I saw her. She came down, Paul.
Son of a gun.
Yeah, she was on her way down, because I heard that huffing sound. Did you hear it?
Yeah, I thought it was like grouse or something.
So I was, since you had made that joke about woodland parties, that's why I was yelling about.
Oh, okay.
But I was just being goofy, but it was that mama bear. She was huffing at you.
And I was yelling back at you, saying, go pee for me too.
Oh, I didn't hear what you said.
Yeah. Jack, not funny.
I know, I was just being goofy, but man.
Oh, there she is. I'm right behind you. You good?
Let's see, yeah, she would prefer us not be here, and that's fine. We're not, oh gosh. We might be stuck here for a while.
Yeah, I'm glad we were making a lot of noise.
Yeah, I'm so glad we were yelling at each other. And those are babies.
Yeah, they are. Come on down. Yeah,
oh my gosh.
Come on down. I was within.
You were close, because when you turned around to talk to me, she came down that tree in a hurry, and I was like, bear, bear. You know, you can hardly.
That's a big squirrel.
No, that was a big bear, and so she had been huffing, and we weren't really responding, because, oh my goodness.
See, just like me not here, woman.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, little baby bear.
Oh.
He said, I'm gonna stick in this wire.
I know it's shaky, but I'm trying to get you can see that cub still just hanging out in the tree there. Oh, calling for mama. That was the sound I heard.
I thought it was a person.
I thought it was a person too. Well, further evidence of our bear encounter. You can see a bear print, and what I think, and I could be wrong, I'm wondering if these are little baby toes that stepped right in the bigger print. Pretty neat. Well, that was a pretty exciting bear encounter we had not too long ago there. So I had just stopped to say I was gonna pee. So Paul had walked forward, I was stopped on the trail, and we're kind of hollering back and forth at each other, which was good, because then we both hear what absolutely sounds to both of us like a female voice. Like, we're assuming that there's a female hiker that's going to come down the trail, and like it just sounded like she was kind of like almost playing Marco Polo. Like, it was just sort of like a whoop or something, you know. And so, you know, we're kind of stop, and Paul looks at me. I was like, that wasn't me, and we're hollering back and forth at each other, and then we start hearing the like deep, like, whoo, whoo, whoo sound. And in my brain, I'm still somehow thinking that is coming from whatever humans I'm assuming are just a little ways up on trail. And then about as Paul turns to look at me to kind of be like, are you hearing this? I see Mama Bear shoot down the tree, like, just obvious. I mean, not, I don't know, 30 feet from him. She is coming down that tree, and she's coming quick. And I can barely get the word out. I'm like, bear, Paul, bear. And so he comes back to where I'm at, and then we can see her two cubs up in the tree with her. And then she comes down and basically checks us out. She gets caught on the trail and looks at us. She goes over on the creek and scopes us out there. And then she comes around on the other side, and I think she's just trying to decide what to do about us. And I'm content to just stay right there for a bit, but I don't know. Paul decides that he thinks it's okay for us to head on after a while, even though those cubs are still up in that tree. And so that's maybe not the move I would have made, but he heads on, and I'm not about to be left back there as bear bait, so I go with him. And yeah, we just kind of sneak by. We're making lots of noise, letting her know where we're at. And Paul does see her one more time, but she goes around us and gets back to where her cubs are. So Yeah, that was an exciting encounter. Definitely the closest I think I have ever been to bear cubs, at least. So it's pretty neat. Little trail marker. The white dot is the blaze that's used for the Mountains to Sea Trail. So we've been gaining in elevation for a good portion of the day, but we've been walking right on top of a ridge line for the most part, which if you were somewhere with fewer trees, I think would make for some really stunning views. Like off that direction, I think you could see the whole everything. But just have to leave it to my imagination. All right, this is campsite number 2 in the Smokies. This will be our final campsite in the park. It's called Newton Bald. We're still on top of this ridge, and you'll just continue to have to use your imagination about what all the landscape looks like on the other side of those trees.
All right. Tucking in for the night. Might get to watch a little bit of the sunset colors out the tent door. Good morning on day 3. Boy, it sounds wet out there. Well, definitely a wet day. I don't think it's actually raining that hard anymore. As far as I can tell, I'm just in a cloud up here, so everything's just sort of misty and wet. But of course, you know, the trees are so laden with all night's rain that they'll drip on you pretty good. So yeah, it's gonna be a wet day. However, we only have about 7 to 8 miles into Cherokee, which will be town stop number 1. So I know Paul is already dreaming about rewards for his work for the past couple of days, and hopefully we'll be able to find a place to get dry. Well, it's been raining pretty good all morning. I know I'm feeling a little bit like a drowned rat. What about you, Paul? How you feeling about the rain?
I'm moist.
He's moist. He's moist, he says. We came across this little shelter. I believe it's actually a shooting range. You can see the little targets out there. So we're just taking a break from the rain for a few minutes. We are only about a half a mile from the road. And then we'll be walking towards Cherokee. Maybe eventually at some point someone will pick us up and give us a ride. I don't know. That might be nice if that happens. But one way or another, we'll definitely be in town within the next few hours. So we're passing right by the visitor center, which we stopped at on our way into the park. And then following this trail, which is technically still the Mountains to Sea Trail, get a little bit closer to Cherokee. Well, we decided to just walk into Cherokee because it wasn't that far, so welcome to Cherokee, North Carolina. Finally stopped raining too, so that's nice. You can see the Hiker Motel explosion. So I'm just out for a little evening stroll around Cherokee, which is a cute little mountain town, kind of a neat town stop. It's a bit touristy because it's like, you know, right at the Smokies, and so there are lots of gift shops and stuff. It's also on the eastern band of Cherokee land, so a lot of Native American
culture and art and gift shops as well. I really only explored this one little corner of it because Paul and I got here today all sopping wet and basically walked to the first inn we found and said, "This works for us, take us please." And so now we're all showered and dried out, laundered, all that good stuff. And yeah, and it's actually quite nice out now. You can see a little bit of the mountains we've been walking through around here. And yeah, so pretty nice. I'll be continuing on tomorrow. Paul will not. He will, he might walk with me in the morning a little bit. He hasn't decided, but generally this is where he'll be ending his stint on the Mountains to Sea Trail. So it's been really fun to have him for the first few days, and so I'm glad he decided to join me for that. Protect me from the bears. Just kidding. But yeah, no, it's been fun to have company, and certainly wish him well as he heads back home. But yeah, I'll be excited to get back on trail. I am anticipating some more wet days, so I'll enjoy the dry air while I can. Good morning on day 4. Trying to get an early start today. See, it's another quite cloudy day, probably a rainy day on the Mountains to Sea Trail. Paul, can you tell us what you're about to take a bite of there?
A liver mush cheese biscuit with ketchup.
Mmm. Yum.
2 slices of liver mush.
2 slices. This is a real deal. Yeah, sure. Test it out.
Big bite or small bite?
It's your bite. Ooh, big bite. Went for the big bite. How is it?
Hot.
Hot. Yep. Liver mush for breakfast. Welcome to the South, y'all. A pretty little rainbow to start the day. Alright, this is the beginning of the Blue Ridge Parkway, which is a scenic highway that runs through a lot of North Carolina and Virginia. And for the next several miles, this is the Mountains to Sea Trail. Hello, little turkeys. Well, it's not exactly the sun coming like out, but at least you can see some things today. There we go.
Oh yeah.
That was Paul's momentous touch of his end of the Mountains to Sea Trail. He's done it. He doesn't care very much. So it is illegal to walk through those tunnels on the Blue Ridge Parkway for good reason. And so I'm currently on the little trail that goes around it. Just said goodbye to Uncle Paul. I was super happy to have him with me for the beginning. Really grateful for just the support, you know, from my family as I kind of start this trek. And yeah, grateful for him and Aunt Amy hosting me the night before getting out here, and you know, coming to see me off on this adventure through the state of North Carolina. So yeah, big thank you to him for being part of this this new beginning. Hello, little hitchhiker. Do you want to come to the beach with me? Oh, bye. Well, it started absolutely pouring. Well, after about 6 miles on the parkway, the trail is diverted onto this gravel road. Went over, I think it was called Big Witch Gap, and then took off onto this side trail. But that was when it was absolutely pouring. And yeah, it's not raining quite as hard, but as you can probably kind of tell, I am in a big old cloud. It's not a ton of sunlight, but it's enough for me to take the opportunity to let my soaking wet wrinkly feet dry out a little bit. This is really quite pleasant, being on actual trail and having the sun come out a little bit. It's amazing what a little bit of sunshine can do for your spirits. Good morning on day 5. I am in the clouds once again. The Mountains to Sea Trail is broken up into segments. So if you start looking for any information on it, you'll find like segment 1, segment 2, and so on. And they seem to be designated by like primary trailheads, just kind of big trailheads, not necessarily major resupply points. So segment 1 is Clingmans Dome to Waterrock Knob. And I'm pretty close to Waterrock Knob. So I'll probably break these videos down for the most part to go along with the segments. So I probably could have made it to Waterrock Knob yesterday, but I'm still kind of getting my trail legs, trying not to push it too much until, certain I'm feeling strong. So, but yeah, should be coming up pretty soon here on the end of segment 1. More stellar views of the inside of a cloud. This is probably all I'm really going to remember about this section. And made it to Waterrock Knob. As you can see, the parking area is a pretty deserted place on a cloudy morning. There is a hike you can do up to the top of the knob up there, but I suspect the views will be just about the same. But yeah, this completes segment 1, Mountains to Sea Trail.